What's up, everybody? It's Circus. So I'm going to be doing my monster Ed Gein story, Netflix, about Ed Gein, serial killer. So, I'm doing because I watch all the episodes, and let me tell you something. If you have a weak stomach, if you can't take, I mean they watered it down, but not too much. You may not want to watch this because it's pretty intense. Although I do have some problems with the story because I know the story of Ed Gein. They actually added their Hollywood pizzazz to it, Netflix, to make it a little bit more interesting. But it was already interesting enough. And this is one of those where you see a person that some will say they're born like that. And there's different windows and doors in the brain that we have no idea about. But I'm one of those that I don't think God makes something like that. Like they say, oh, that's the way God made him or whatever. And I'm not going to I'll get into the religious part of it in this because I have a problem with that too. But some of these people are just made. Literally just made. And you kind of see where he's coming from. He had the mom that was just so bitter. You know, when misery loves company, one of those people, and sticks behind religion, beating the Bible into him and knowing full well this boy got a problem. Even the brother did. You know full well. But you're sitting there just beating and sitting there chastising and saying that, you know, I mean, there's a scene in there where the mother says to him, I wanted a girl. I never wanted y'all. And the way she talks about the father, and the father was drinking, it was just, he grew up in just straight chaos and madness. Now, I do not give him excuse at all. I do not, especially with like serial killers. Like, I'm interested. I look at it because I want to see the signs, because I'm interested in the human mind. But we will never be able to understand it. Not in this lifetime, not in the next 1,000 years. I don't think ever. There's so many doors and hallways that are in that brain that just unearth a lot of stuff. And I'm one of those, I think sometimes it may be mental illness, but there's a form of possession that is in there. We have to look at all angles, because sometimes when people be doing this, like mental illness can disguise itself as many things. You could be a hoarder. You ever seen hoarders? You know, they always have to keep everything. They have all this stuff. It's all this clutter. And if you move something, they spaz out and they go crazy. They just need all these items, even clothes that they can't even fit anymore. They just hold on to them and stuff. That's a mental illness. I mean, people that like, I really can't. I don't want to get into that because I'm not a psychiatrist or something like that, but it's certain. I just use that as an example. That doesn't make them serial killers. This is different. And you see the upbringing and the Bible beating, the constant Bible beating. Like, I'm religious. I believe in God, and I respect y'all's religions. I see it from your side. I like religion. You know what I mean? But when you're beating something into somebody and disgracing them at the same time, how are you? I mean, you stay behind a book and a word, and you're sitting there beating it in, but chastising him at the same time you're doing this. Like, there's a scene in here where the mom's like literally calling the girl a Jezebel and screaming, and she has a stroke, and then she dies. And then that's when you get the whole thing with how that was like the catalyst for him to start doing stuff. It was already there, but sometimes you got to put the good book down and look at the person and tell them, like, there's something wrong with you. And sometimes it can't be fixed that way. And I don't know, like, there's a lot of stuff that's put in this to make it a little bit more eye catchy. So there's a lot of fact and fiction in this. in this series. By the way, Charlie Hunnam is amazing in it, and I hate to say that he's portraying a serial killer that killed people, dug up bodies. That I have to give this guy credit for doing such a good job at it. So I'm just looking at the actor and the person that's the actor, not the actual Ed Gein himself. He nailed this role, and there's a lot of stuff in here like with the you got to watch it. Because he is like out there. This is like beyond. And then they give him he's a schizophrenic and all that. And it's a mental condition. And we find out that he was seeing all these things. Because there's times in there where it's all over the place. And imagine that's what he's seeing in his brain. How does the mind get like that? Yeah, you could say you're born that way. Yeah, you can say you're made that way. But there's a lot of people that have problems and they kind of figure it out. We're not running around like murdering people. You see what I'm saying? It's something we will never know. They can always pick it apart. And there's this thing in this too where they brought the Mindhunter, not the Mindhunter, the doppelganger Mindhunters. I wish they would go back to hold it. They should have kept that show going because that was a little watered down. This one is really intense. The Dahmer one was, it was intense, but you really got to see this one because it is crazy. But let me go back to using the religion to mask the monster that you are yourself. Because his mom was a monster. And that's all he knew. But she stayed behind the word. She stayed behind the book, the good book. To hide and mask that she was just as evil as him. Sometimes evil's made because of disdain. You're sad, misery. But you see all the stuff he does, like cutting people's. I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to get too graphic for YouTube. But if you watch it, if you can read the Ed Gein story and see everything. So all these movies that were made, and he says it in here too, like your psychos, and we see how it affected the psychos and how it affected Alfred Hitchcock too. So there's a whole episode, just like 2 episodes, how he made Psycho and is from Ed Gein. We got Silence of the Lamb is from Ed Gein. Also, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is from Ed Gein. All that is from his tree of stuff. And he says it in there. He was like, they made all this money off my likeness. And I got a penny for it. Well, I understand. I didn't get a penny for it. I understand where you're coming from, Ed, but you murdered people. And you did some sixes. But they kind of, in the show, they kind of try and make you see it from his side. But I cannot agree with it. I can't. Like, that's cool that he found out that he had a problem and everything like that. And then he eventually comes to the realization, like, yeah, I did do that. I have a problem, but I did it. I did. He has a little scene where he kind of like, if you watch it, like, yeah, I did it. Because he's sitting there the whole time, like saying like, I can't remember. I can't. And then once they tell him what was wrong with him, he kind of like accepts that, yeah, he did it. He blames himself, but they kind of try and make you feel sorry for him. But I can't feel sorry for some. I know people have mental conditions. I know that. But when you do stuff like that, it's like there's a point when you got to just fight and tap into that brain not to do something like that. And it's unfortunate. There's a lot of people that are like that. There's a lot, and there's always that one thing that sets that thing off. The other door in the brain opens, the other one closes, and the other person comes out. That person. And then when that's done, it's so complicated. It's like a Rubik's Cube kind of. But you can never get the match. You can never get the match. Never. Can't match the colors. They're all like. But it's I can't feel sorry for that. Like you can forgive, but you can't. I'm one of those. I can forgive to a point, but I can't forget because it happened. And this person was doing this. And then they open it up to probably the next one, which is going to be Ted Bundy. And the way they do that is like, yeah, I got some spoilers. I'm not giving too much. You got to watch it. But yeah, that's probably going to be another crazy one. But all these people, and you see that a lot of these serial killers, they're like fans of the one prior. So like everybody's a fan of Ed Gein. Ed Gein, there's a scene in there when they show like the guy's talking to Ed Gein, like, oh yeah, Ed Gein, he's kind of my hero and everything, because the Mindhunter crew, which they need to come back with that show. Do it. You could have both of them running, because Mindhunter was great. Go watch that. But you see, they're like fanboys, all of them. And it's something that triggers it. They see it, just like he saw the German lady, which I don't know if she was real or not. There's so much stuff that he was seeing in his mind that we're getting that's real or not. And we don't even know, because it seems like he barely like let anything out unless it was to the psychiatrist. And then the psychiatrist broke it down. Maybe that's where most of the stuff comes from. But isn't it a violation of doctor-patient privacy? But that was kind of before we had that in. But anyway, kind of needed that. But it's like a master class in this some of these episodes of how the human mind is so fragile. Just your simple urges about stuff could just set you off to do these type of things, you know? And then you see him in like the older years, and then he dies of lung cancer or whatever. But you see him in the older years, and he's kind of like accepting fact. And everybody seems to still like this guy, treat him with respect, which I appreciate. Like, I'm not going to like you, but I get it. I work in a hospital. It's my job and everything. I can't fathom myself after knowing what you did to like. But then with them, they got to like chill back, because they don't want this person to get aggressive or have a relapse or something like that. But it's like, with me in here and in here, I'll talk to you accordingly like a human being and everything like that. But I cannot agree with what you did. I can't. And I cannot feel sorry for you for that you had this condition. I feel sorry that you have the condition, but I can't feel sorry for you that the condition made you do these type of things, because there's always a stopping point, because some of those people had no shot, especially the little babysitter girl. I mean, she had damn polio, dude. She just babysitting. You got mad about it. Like certain things like that it's still you. It's still you. Your hands are moving. Your brain's probably, we don't know which one's up there, but it's still you doing it. So that other you that doesn't want to do it in there with all those other personalities and stuff, maybe that you needs to step up and block those people out. And they said they're not able to block it out. And I get that. I understand it. They can't block it out. Well, then why is it that they in there can block the real you out, which is the good you? So why is it they can block them, but you, the good you, can't block them? We don't understand that type of stuff. We don't. I mean, maybe there's a psychiatrist that watch my channel, or psychologist, and you can break it down. I don't want to get it too much into the human mind. I'm just saying from what I'm thinking. So don't go too much on what I say. Do some research or whatever. I'm just saying from what I feel. And I just do not agree with this type of person. Because eventually it gets to a point where like, yeah, I have this condition, but they never try and stop it. It becomes a sport, and it becomes a grandstand. Look at like Ted Bundy and all them. It became a grandstand. There's a part in there when the nurse kind of says it, but then she feels sorry later, because then she gets to understand it. But I think she really meant it. She was like, no, that's you. Yeah, you may be crazy and everything like that, and you got a condition, but it's you. And I feel bad for people that have like a lot of mental depression and stuff like that. But that's different. I mean, it's not different. It's a mental condition. People with mental, they battle it all the time. Everybody does PTSD, all types of mental conditions. But we fight through it, and we fight those urges, and we get through it, even though it's rough. But we're not running around cutting people's heads off, wearing their skin, people, wearing their whole, ripping out organs, wearing all the skin of a female. Okay, so those are like a different type that I just don't get it. I'm sorry that I'm offending anybody. Somebody has somebody in their family that's like that, but I'm not talking about. I'm talking about him. These type of people. These type of serial killers. I'm not talking about people with like mental conditions just fighting through it. Good for you. Good for you. You can do it. You can do it. Be that voice in your head. Like, I'm going to get through this. If I got to fight this my whole life, it's not going to win. These, they just let it go. And even ones that are in the crazy and they just can't, they're just in the mental institution. If this is killing for pleasure, to satisfy your need, taking someone's life like that. If you're going to be crazy and have mental illness stuff, that keep that with you and your psychiatrist and stuff like that. Don't take that on other people, because they're battling stuff too. So you take it out on them and they battle, and then we get one after the other. I mean, it's a whole chain. It's a whole chain. It's a whole chain from what he did. Look at it from what he did and what people saw and what they read. And all like, there's so many serial killers that are modeled. They modeled themselves after Ed Gein. He is like their, I'm not going to put his name in there, but he is like their goat of serial killers. Half of them, most of them trace to him. Isn't that crazy? And I don't know. There's so much going on in his head. There's the Nazi Germany stuff going on. He's living in America. It was around that time, and he's reading these books. I don't even know what was her Annabelle? What was her name? Arabelle, or his girlfriend? I don't think that's totally correct. I think they added a lot of this stuff, but I'm kind of. You just got to watch it and understand what I'm talking about. Like, if you watch it, and it's going to be intense, people. I'm telling you right now, it is intense, and it's hard to watch. But Charlie Hunnam's performance is good, but you're going to see how terrible the judicial system, even back then. So you're going to see how this guy just sits in the crazy house. And then he kind of says it to himself. He's like, you know, why? Basically, I'm going crazy being here. You guys just keep us here. And there's no benefit. You're not fixing us. I mean, now they probably do, but back then, I mean, those places were, they just fed you pills and probably beat you in electroshock therapy. Now they're a lot better. You know, they're actually fixing people, but they just didn't understand stuff like this until it happened. So people could say he's a necessary evil, then we can catch the other ones, but it's like, why did it have to happen? Is my thing. Like, it all could have been prevented with the detectives, the mother actually being a good mother. See one scene when he's having fun with her and everything. Like, that's the mother probably always wanted and would have kept him freaking, I don't know. But some of these, sometimes it does start with the parents and the upbringing. I'll get that. Some people are maybe born with it. I don't know. But a lot of them are made. So that's all I got. And tell me what you think in the comments. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody. It's just how I'm thinking, you know. It bothers me when people take lives for basically sport and because they have a problem. Yeah, but it sucks. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I want everyone to subscribe. I do mean everyone.